Top of the morning to you laddies, my name is Professor Teagues and welcome back to our highly anticipated 2024 gaming video tier list. In case if you don't remember, I have done a gaming tier list from 2022 until now. So we got 2022, 2023, and now we're doing 2024. And so those other episodes, whatever the frick, from the previous years, they will be linked in the description most likely. Lucky for all you second channel subscribers, I was actually debating on putting this video on the main channel, but that just didn't work out. So I took a little bit extra time and we're a little bit late on this video. It's January 7th. As you know, that's the day that I'm recording this. We're keeping the tier list series on the second channel rather than the main channel. If you don't know, I'm taking a break from the main channel and I'm still going to upload here for a little bit, just whatever the frick I want. I do have one more video that's going to be kind of in this style. It's going to be me talking about the music of 2024, but it's going to be a little bit different. I don't want to totally spoil it, but that will be coming soon, maybe in the next month, maybe in the next 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I don't know. Anyway, let's just get started. Here is our tier list and stuff. So we got iconic, which is S tier, memorable, A tier, pretty good in it, B tier, mid, C tier, D tier is forgettable, F tier, dookie, or is it E? I don't have an E tier. So we're starting off with Wolfenstein the Old Blood. If you don't remember from last year, I loved the Wolfenstein games. For 2023, I played the Wolfenstein, the New Order, and then the New Colossus, and they were amazing. And the Old Blood is no exception. The Old Blood is very memorable. I think about it all the time just because it's a prequel to Wolfenstein the New Order and stuff, and it's really good. I really enjoyed it. It's quite short, but I don't care. It's kind of like an extended DLC. It's like a totally separate game on the same engine as the 2014 Wolfenstein. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. I was trying to play it in 2023, but that didn't end up happening. I got I got my hands full towards the end of the year. And so we got the Old Blood and the Young Blood for 2024. So we're going to talk about it now. So here we have Wolfenstein the Young Blood. This game is mid, okay? It is not worth the money. It is painfully short. I don't know why it exists. I think it came out in 2019 as a swift cash grab, I guess. And you play as BJ Blazkowicz's twin daughters, and they're very cringe. I watched a video essay some months ago explaining why millennial gaming is so not epic and it's very cringe. It's because millennials are sensitive as frick, and when they make their own games, they're cringe as frick. And so Wolfenstein is just like it's up there with Borderlands 3. That is just the pinnacle of like millennial gaming being the downfall of gaming. So Wolfenstein the Young Blood, I really regret playing it. It really was not worth the money. I did not need to play it. There is like almost no value in it. The gameplay is basically the same as Wolfenstein 2. The graphics are a little bit better, but like not really, because the games were released 2 years apart. And it's multiplayer, so you can play with friends, but like, why would you play Wolfenstein with friends? Wolfenstein is really just a single player game, alright? The Young Blood is just a waste of your time, that's all I gotta say. And next we have Stalker. Hey, what's the matter with you? Now, my brother shilled this series to me for a while. I was kind of hesitant on playing it because he's like, oh, it's Fallout, but it takes place in Ukraine, and it's for men, okay? Fallout is for little boys, and I love Fallout, okay? Fallout 4, I think, is the best Fallout, next to Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas is pretty good, but not as good as Fallout 3, in my opinion. But yeah, so Stalker, I finally got around to playing it this year, and boy, it is memorable. It's just above the Old Blood. This game by itself, man, it was so interesting, and it has like that PS2 aesthetic because it's such an old PC game. I like the concept, I like the atmosphere, I like the gameplay. I feel like the gameplay is one of the strongest parts of it, especially seeing that it's from the mid-2000s, and it still kind of holds up. It's still like really creepy. It's a horror game, and I actually recorded the first like hour and a half of me playing it. I was going to turn it into a second channel video at that time. It wasn't really that interesting not because the game was boring, but because my reactions were boring. I was immersed, okay? Like headphones on, oh, I'm ready to play this thing, and I was just like sucked in immediately. And so I never turned it into an actual video of me playing the game, just because I wanted to play it on my own time because it was that good. Yeah, okay, so moving on, we have Stalker, the Clear Sky. Now this is probably the worst Stalker game in the whole franchise. So with that being said, okay, I'll put it in mid. I don't know. It's better than Wolfenstein Youngblood. Clear Sky, I don't think it really needs to exist. I feel like they try some new things that just kind of takes away from Stalker as a franchise. It just kind of ruins it, and it's really hard. It took me a couple extra hours to beat it, because I just died a lot. And don't get me wrong, the first game is kind of hard as well, but at least you can kind of like understand it. Clear Sky, it's just way too complicated and stuff. My brother still likes Clear Sky. He would probably put it in pretty good in it or memorable if he was doing this tier list, but I'm putting it in mid because, oh my goodness. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. So let's move into Call of Pripyat. Now, here's the thing. This is one of the first games I played this year that I did not even finish. Call of Pripyat, it comes back to glory with the first game, Heart of Chernobyl, or Shadow of Chernobyl. Heart of Chernobyl is the new game. Whatever. It comes back to form. It's too similar to the first game. Like, there's some new thing. Like, the graphics are a little bit better. This game came out in 2010. So 4 years after the first game. I only played it for like 4 hours, and I was like stuck at this part where you have to find like a tunnel to get to the second half of the game. And I'm like, okay, I'll just look up a playthrough of it. And so I looked up the playthrough, I watched through it, and I'm like, you know what, let's skip ahead, let's see what happens. And so I saw pretty much what happens, and it looked okay, I guess. It just seemed like a rehash of the first game, just like a slightly different environment. There's a lot that I'm missing because I didn't actually play the game myself, and I kind of skimmed through that walkthrough. So, I mean, in terms of my experience, like, it wasn't even any better than Clear Sky. Like, at least I could beat Clear Sky. Call of Pripyat, I was so bored that I didn't even want to beat it. And it was like basically the same as this game. With that being said, out of the 3 games, if there was one that you should play, I would still say it's the first game. The third game, Call of Pripyat, it's less janky, just slightly less janky, better graphics, more dynamic enemies. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember that much. But yeah, I feel like the first game's story is just better. And it actually has like animated cinematics when there's a cutscene. The third game, it doesn't really have that. And if you look at all the other games I have here on the bottom, you don't see Stalker 2 that came out in 2024. And that is because I did not buy it, nor did I play it. I watched my brother play a little bit of it when he was at the house with his laptop, and I'm like, okay, I mean, it looks okay, I guess. Like, the graphics are a lot better. I watched Pyrocynical's video of him playing it. There's a lot of new stuff. Like, it really looks like the Stalker game of all time. That begs the question, now that there's a 4th official game in the franchise that was released in 2024, should you just play Stalker 2 if your PC can handle it? I mean, if you want, what I would say is play Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl, and then play Stalker 2. These other 2 games, Clear Sky and Pripyat, I don't think they really needed to exist. That's all I gotta say. Stalker 2, if I were to play it, it would probably also be memorable. I just didn't really see the point. Like, I've seen other people play it. I feel like I didn't really get too enticed. The first game kind of gave that experience to me, and I don't really feel the need to have a repeat of that. So moving on, we have another Call of Duty game, an older COD, but this is Advanced Warfare from 2014. I remember playing this game on the Xbox 360. It was the last COD that was released for the Xbox 360 besides Black Ops 3 Zombies, but it wasn't a full game, so that doesn't count. So yeah, this game, I had fond memories of it as a kid playing the Zombies mode. I thought I bought all the DLC and all the extra Zombies maps, but apparently I didn't. And the cover image for Advanced Warfare on Steam is an advertisement for the Gold Edition. Why? So I don't actually own any of the DLC. I only have the base game. And so I was really mad about that. I only have 1 Zombies map. That's all it comes with. I played it for like a few hours in total, like just a few separate matches. And then I got bored. I'm like, dang, this isn't as fun as I remember. It's very Like Cold War zombies, I feel like I've talked about this before in a previous tier list video, but Cold War zombies, it's one of the best Black Ops zombies ever. Okay, like next to Black Ops 3 and World at War. In Advanced Warfare, it doesn't capture that. And it was released just a year before Black Ops 3, and so, yeah, it's just kind of sad. But in Advanced Warfare, it's pretty good in it. The campaign, I thought it's still pretty decent. It's just the ending sucks. That's my only major criticism. I love the exosuit concept. I feel like they did that really well. The whole like enemy is like Kevin Spacey and stuff, and he's like, I don't even remember what his plan was, but it was just some generic humanity bad thing. I don't know. The gameplay, I like the gameplay. And next we have Mafia, the trilogy Mafia. Okay, here's the definitive edition, and then there's Mafia 2 and Mafia 3. So first we have Mafia 1 definitive edition. I played the original Mafia from 2002 last year, and I put it in Dookie because it was terrible. I didn't even finish it. The gameplay is awful. As for Mafia definitive edition, it's pretty memorable. Yeah, I feel like them remastering it really did the first game justice, because the first game was just awful on its own. So it takes place in like 1931, I think, in New York, and of course you play as Italians and you do mob stuff. It's a pretty generic mobster concept, but the fact that it was a remaster of a 2002 game, I'd say that does it justice. Next, we need a remaster of the Sopranos PS2 game. I think that'd be pretty fire. So like there's this one mission where you're in like a derby race, and I think that was pretty interesting. I felt like it's like a Mario Kart, but in the 1930s. It's like a realistic 1930s Mario Kart. That's crazy, bro. And the gameplay is okay, I guess. It's basically the same exact gameplay as Mafia 3, but we'll get into that. So here we have Mafia 2. Mafia 2, I thought was really, really good. Okay, so it is right next to Stalker, Shadow Chernobyl. Mafia 2 is the best one. So you play as Italians in 1945, post World War II. The first mission is you as a soldier on the American side in Sicily, Italy, fighting the fascist Italians. It's not necessarily an Easter egg. It's kind of like a fan service to Italian history buffs, you know? And so yeah, then you come home from the war and you commit crimes and stuff because you're a criminal. You were drafted to the military as a punishment because you were committing crimes with your homeboy. And yeah, it's just like a hidden Xbox 360 era gem. The best GTA clone I've ever played. Okay, it's better than Saints Row. If you want to play a good GTA clone, play the Mafia games, except for Mafia 3. Mafia 3 is so mid, I didn't even finish it. I will put it above these three games here. So it is high mid. The only good thing that Mafia 3 has provided to this world is that clip of the kid playing the game and his mom is just screaming at him from behind like, "Go to the bathroom! You're hitting yourself!" No, not yet. "Go to the bathroom! I can smell poop coming out of your ass!" and stuff. So yeah, you play as this black guy in Louisiana, and it's like the Black Mafia. The Black Louisiana Mafia, and it takes place in the 60s. So Mafia 1 was in the 30s, Mafia 2 was in the 40s, and then this one's in the 60s. I think it's like 1965. It's like Vietnam era. And so there's like pot everywhere. There's hippie, not too many hippies, but there's racists and stuff. Like you literally find KKK members. They're not a prominent plot point. It's still like kind of cringe how involved the racism kind of was. Like there's literally cops that you kill and they're like, "Stupid nibber," and they just say the hard R, and it's like, was that necessary? Like there's literally a disclaimer at the beginning of the like loading screen when you open up the game. There's a lot of offensive content in this game, and we decided to leave it in and not censor any of it because we want to show the true side of history. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, that's fine. They put the racism in your face, and I feel like that's something that takes away from a lot of media, because they hyper focus on the racism when we should be hyper focusing on the characters themselves. Okay, like all the racists, they're just the villains. Like, okay, cool, the villains are racist. I guess that gives me one more reason that I need to kill them. Like I said, it's just kind of thrown in your face. And this game was released in 2016, I think. And so I guess that's kind of fitting. But that's kind of my main complaint. Like, it's not super woke. For 2016 standard, it is kind of woke, but for nowadays standards, 8 years into the future, it's pretty tame. But overall, the game is just mid. Like, forget the racism thing. The gameplay is so repetitive and the game itself is so long. I didn't even finish it. I probably got like past halfway and I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. It is it's like my top 4 most played game of 2024 just because of how long it was taking me to beat the campaign. I put like 30 hours into it, I think. Jeez, I'm so okay. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So next we have Dead Island Riptide. Now, this game is not better than the first Dead Island, but it is absolutely up there. And I put it above COD Advanced Warfare. It's pretty good in it. Is it better than Dead Island 2 that I played in 2023? It's a little bit better than Dead Island 2. Just a little bit. Because Dead Island itself as a series, it's not really that good. It has some unique mechanics here and there, but overall it's just like you want to play a unique zombie game, here's Dead Island. You know, it's one of those. It's not like it's not like it was revolutionary at the time, but it doesn't really hold up now. It doesn't hold up the same way as like Left 4 Dead 2 or something, you know. Dead Island Riptide, people really dog on it a lot because it's such a downgrade from the first game, but really I'd say it's pretty good DLC. Don't go in expecting it to be something that it's not. Go in expecting it to just be additional content, and that by itself I thought it was pretty decent because it recycles everything that Dead Island 1 did and just makes DLC out of it, but like its own game, and it's pretty long. It's like an 8-hour game, and so yeah, I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty good, so I had fun. And that's all that matters. Next we have Dying Light 1. I did not play Dying Light 2 because Dying Light 1 here I got for free on Epic Games. This game is okay, I guess. So I'll put it below Advanced Warfare, but it's pretty good in it. It's like lower pretty good in it, you know? It's almost mid, but like it does not, again, when did it come out? 2015? So yeah, it doesn't really hold up that well. I should have just skipped Dying Light 1 and just played Dying Light 2 because I feel like I heard some things like the story sucks, but the gameplay is a little bit more refined. And I feel like that was my main complaint about it. Dying Light 1, it's very janky by today's standards. It was revolutionary at the time, but now it doesn't really hold up that well. It's not like a game you would want to replay and just be like, oh, I'm gonna get nostalgic over this game. Oh, I'm so excited. It's not gonna be one of those games. I'm sorry. So yeah, by itself, for a 2015 game, it's pretty good in it. Oh yeah, and the DLC sucks. I did play the DLC. It's not worth it. Just play the base game. Don't worry about the DLC. Next, we have Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Yeah, I think you know where I'm gonna put this. It's like a high mid again. It's better than Mafia 3, but that isn't really saying much. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands takes everything about Borderlands as a franchise and just kind of crumples it up and then unfolds it back up and then makes that a game, okay? Wonderlands, it did not need to exist. Again, what's with all these games I've been playing that's literally just DLC, but made into its own game? This isn't even the last one that's just DLC, by the way. It gives off the feeling that it was supposed to be DLC for Borderlands 3, but they're just like, oh, you know what? Let's just extend it and make it its own game, and we'll release it in 2021. So that's what they did. The guns are terrible. That's like the best thing about Borderlands, the guns. The characters, if you have a vision of Borderlands 3, which I played Borderlands 3 like 3 times, because I love Borderlands 3. Despite the criticisms people have about it, I thought the gameplay was wonderful. The story's kind of mid, but the gameplay just kind of saves it. Like the diverse cast of enemies, and it takes Borderlands 2 and it modernizes it into 2019 era of gaming. And despite it being made by a bunch of colored hair millennials, it's still pretty good, okay? It was fun. I think it's worth the money. Anyway, Wonderlands takes Borderlands 3, crumples it up, unfolds it, makes a new game out of it. All the weapons, they're like crossbow, medieval style kind of stuff, and the whole game is like Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep from Borderlands 2, that one DLC. I never really liked that DLC, and so I had no idea why I thought playing Wonderlands was a good idea. It was not worth the money. I don't think it's worth playing at all, in fact. Like, if you're a fan of Borderlands, this is just going to make you hate the franchise more. I'm heavily debating on playing Tales from the Borderlands, the Telltale thing from, what was it from? It was from 2016, right? And then they have Tales from Borderlands 2, which is much worse. I haven't heard anything about the sequel, but that came out last year, I think. And so I have yet to play that, but I'm kind of scared because it's going to be a waste of money. So Borderlands 4, I hope it wraps up the story. I think Borderlands will never be good again. They kind of lost the mark. Like I just want a final Borderlands game that has good weapons, good enemies, an okay story that kind of ends everything off. And that's all I want. Like everything else, it's gonna be mid, but I just want good guns. I want creative guns. So yeah, I don't want to get too into it now. So next we have Bloons TD6, Bloons Tower Defense 6, whatever. I'm not a fan of this game. I'll put it in forgettable just because I didn't really play it that much. It's just Owen, my podcast co-host, made me get it so he can play it at my house. He wanted me to play it and get addicted to it, but it's just not my thing. It's just a mobile game. And I might as well have just gotten it on my phone, but still, like, it's not something I would play. It's just you pop balloons and you have to be strategic about it. It's like, I'd rather play 2048. Yeah, this game. I'd rather play this. You just swipe the numbers and you get it to 2048 and you win. If you like it, that's fine. It's just not for me. Next, we have Killing Floor 2. This is also something I got for free on Epic Games a couple years ago, and I never played it, and so I'm like, okay, I'll play it. And it's basically Doom. Is it extra gritty? I mean, yeah, it's an extra gritty version of Doom. Doom 2016. When did it come out? It was like 2014 or 2015. It was like the peak Markiplier and Jacksepticeye era. And I remember they played it when it was first popular, but it's not popular anymore. It's not good. I played I think I played most of the maps, and there's supposed to be like a story behind it. There's not like a story mode. You just kind of have to figure it out. And so yeah, Killing Floor 2, it does not hold up at all. It is so janky. Like, just play Doom. Play Doom Eternal. It's so boring. I tried to give it a chance. I tried to play it a little bit more, and then I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore, so I uninstalled it, and I don't think I'll ever play it again. Oh, man, it's the poor person's Doom. Here we have a VR game, Arizona Sunshine 2. I always wanted to play the first game, but I just didn't. But I actually have a video of me playing it here on the second channel. I uploaded it like 4 or 5 months ago. But it's there. You'll see it. And I really enjoyed it. I'd say it's high memorable. It's above the first Stalker game. I'd probably play it again, but I wouldn't keep it installed. Like, iconic games I would put an iconic are Fortnite, Doom Eternal, even though I put that in memorable when I first played it, but it's iconic. Doom Eternal is iconic. I still play it. It's installed right now. COD Warzone, Terraria, which I also put in memorable when I first played it, but Terraria is iconic. I grinded Terraria this year. I forgot to mention that. Over 300 hours on Terraria now because I've been trying to 100% it. I have 2 achievements left before I get every single achievement, but I'm kind of taking a break because it's going to take a little bit longer than I thought. I don't remember what the achievements are. Oh yeah, I have to purify the whole world and stuff, get all the corruption out, and I have to get the golden delight. So I have to catch every single golden critter and make a food out of it. It's kind of difficult. It's going to take a long time, and so I want to get back to that someday, but not now. Arizona Sunshine 2. It is one of the best VR games I've played, and I haven't really played that many VR games. It's like almost up there with VR Chat. There was also the VR Metro game, and I heard it was terrible. I read the Steam reviews. It is not worth it. It still feels kind of a very primitive in terms of VR. Arizona Sunshine 2 though, it is a solid sequel to the first game. I still haven't played the first game. I don't think I need to. I think the second game just kind of has more stuff and the graphics are better, and they also released a remaster version of the first, so it kind of has the same engine, but whatever. Just play Arizona Sunshine 2. It has a decent story until the end because it's a America Lebad, or Humanity Lebad, and the true villain wasn't the zombies, it was the humans all along. So next we have another VR game, Doom VFR. This is Dookie. It's not even, I thought it was going to be Doom 2016 but VR, but no, it's like its own game, and the controls are terrible. It's not even optimized for a Quest 2. It's optimized for a Vive. Not even a Valve Index. It's optimized for a Vive. Like, do you remember anyone using those? It's like an old VR system. It's just unplayable, pretty much. I played it for like 30 minutes with the boys, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. So I just uninstalled it. Like, you can't even do glory kills. Literally, you move your invisible circle thing, you move it onto where the zombies are once they're weak, and you just teleport to their body and they just explode into blood. You can't rip anyone's arms off and punch them. Nothing like that. It's terrible. It's so anticlimactic. So next we have Prey. This year, Arcane Studios was shut down, so we had to play some Prey. I also got this game for free. I had it on my Epic Games library for a while. It is not my kind of game. I'm gonna put it on the bottom of mid because I did not finish it. At least I finished these games, but not Mafia 3. Prey, I probably got through like the first hour and a half. It took me like 5 hours to get to where I am, but it's just, it failed to encapsulate me. Like, some monsters were showing up, but I'm like, oh, like, I understand this game is revolutionary. It was shilled to me a lot by this one YouTuber I watch. It's just not, you are not BioShock. You will never be BioShock. I don't know, that's all I gotta say. Like, I basically know what happens at the end. I heard about it. It was like all in the head or whatever. I don't care. I also played Dishonored, but we'll get to that later. So next we have Skyrim, The Elder Scrolls V. It's pretty good in it. It's also kind of failed to encapsulate my attention. I'm like 20 hours into the story, which is a lot of time. I haven't beaten it yet. It's still installed. I'm gonna get back to it at some point. It's not better than Fallout. I'm not really a fan of the fantasy setting. I think it lost some points for me because of Wonderlands. Okay, like the medieval fantasy setting, it's ruined now for me because of Wonderlands. Skyrim, if you like Skyrim, that's fine. I get why you like it. It's just not my thing. I think Fallout is better. If Elder Scrolls 6 is released sometime soon, I might get that. Maybe it'll be better, but I did play Skyrim many years ago on the Xbox, and even then I didn't really enjoy it that much. I didn't even get as far as I am now on PC. So next we have Star Wars Battlefront 2. I also got this game for free, and I've been putting it off for a while. Similar to a lot of these other games on Epic Games. But yeah, this game, it was not working. I loaded it up, and I couldn't even move around. And I looked up videos on how to fix it. I am the only person that's had this problem. We're gonna put it in forgettable, because the game looks fun. I've seen gameplay of it for years now, and I'm like, man, I wish I could play that, but I'm not going to spend money on it, though. And luckily, after all this time, I didn't have to spend money. And I was able to finally play it, but it wasn't working. I guess emulated games on the Epic Games launcher just suck. I think that's the conclusion that we have here today. Ugh, it's so disappointing. So next we have Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I have been waiting for this game since Cold War, which was released in 2020. I loved Cold War. Okay, I have it installed right now. That's how much I love it. Black Ops 6, it's below Dead Island Riptide. This is such a step down. Cold War, as a campaign, forget about the zombies and multiplayer. As a campaign, it's like a low memorable. Okay, it's a better campaign than they've done since maybe Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 3. Everything between that time, 2015 to 2019, it's been terrible. So Cold War really saved them a little, but apart from Modern Warfare, the reboot and whatever. And so Black Ops 6, they take everything from Cold War and they just kind of DEI it. Like, the characters are terrible. Like, even the ones that are reoccurring. Like, but yeah, Adler and Woods, they come back. But it's just, they're, like, they got different writers. Like, they're just not interesting. And there's too many women in this game as well. Like, I don't know why Call of Duty hasn't realized this, but stop adding women in your games. This is 1991. Women were not in the military, let alone, like, super secret military special services. Maybe they were in the CIA as like agents, but like going on the battlefield, that is way too progressive. In the 90s? That's just like weird. Yeah, I also have a video of me playing Black Ops 6. It's my previous upload on this channel. There's a couple missions, they're super long, and they have like an open map and stuff. You have to travel around Iraq desert, and you have to travel through this mall, and it's a whole thing that's all in the head. You're tripping on shrooms. And they really tried it all in this campaign. This is definitely the campaign of all time in the sense that it is very unique. There is no COD campaign quite like Black Ops 6. If you play Black Ops 6, you've basically played it all. I would still highly advise you to play the original Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 2. Those are the best campaigns ever. But Black Ops 6, if it's your first COD, you basically don't really need to play anything else. The multiplayer is pretty decent. I am currently addicted to it, and the zombies is not nearly as good as Cold War, but it's serviceable, I guess. Like, you gotta have low expectations for these things now. There's still gonna be more zombies maps that are gonna come out, but for now, the ones that are out, there's like 3: Liberty Falls, Terminus, and then Castlevania. I don't remember what it's called. It's like French or something. Zombies, not that good. Multiplayer, pretty decent. Not as good as Modern Warfare 2 reboot multiplayer. But yeah, Black Ops 6, I don't know. It's hard to say if it's worth buying. It's kind of too late because we're already in 2025 and nobody really cares about COD right now. But yeah, it's just the campaign is the most disappointing part. It's just lazy. Well, not really lazy. It's just, it tries too many things. It's kind of, it takes away so much from what Call of Duty always was. Here we have Red Dead Redemption 1. They finally added this game to PC. It's memorable, I guess. Pretty low memorable. It doesn't really encapsulate you as much as Red Dead 2. And so I want to talk about Red Dead 2 right now. Red Dead 2 is the prequel to Red Dead 1. I played that in 2022. It was iconic. I grinded it and I currently have 300 hours on Red Dead 2. I 100%ed it just a few months ago. And I'm very proud. And hopefully I'll never play that game again because I put way too much time in it this year. I was absolutely no-lifing it. In January, February, and March. And so it was like basically the only game I was playing for those 3 months. And I'm a little bit proud to say that, but also not, because I wasted so much time playing it. It is the most immersive game I have played in my life. I have never been so encapsulated in a game before. All the extra side content, all the stuff you can do, collectibles, outfits, weapons, you know. The game has a lot going for it to this day. It is absolutely timeless. Red Dead 1 does not really have as much of that because it was released in 2010, and you can really tell there's less work put into Red Dead 1 than all the work put into GTA 4 or something, let alone GTA 5. GTA 5, obviously. It's low memorable. It's almost pretty good in it, but I'm gonna put it above just because it shows what happens after Red Dead 2. I feel like it's a good kind of closure to the Red Dead story that had already existed before Red Dead 2, so it's kind of weird. Like, I like the whole Mexico thing. I think the campaign, half of the whole story is in Mexico, and you participating in the Mexican Revolution of 1911. I thought that was a pretty good history lesson because I appreciate history. It had me, like, kind of analyze what was going on. Like, oh, wow, this is what Mexico was like in the early 1910s? That's pretty interesting. And so I appreciate it for that. If it wasn't for the Mexican Revolution thing, it would probably be in pretty good in it. Yeah, I thought that really boosted it up. I thought that really helped. I appreciated the Mexican Revolution thing. The side content, I didn't really do all of it because I didn't really care that much. For what I did do some. It's okay. It's just the story, the main story is the strongest selling point, and that's really all there is to it. There has been some rumors that there's a Red Dead 1 remastered version coming out, maybe in the next couple years, but it's just a rumor. Maybe after GTA 6, I don't know. So if it's remastered, then I might try that out just to see what it's like seeing 1911 John Marston in 4K. But yeah, if you couldn't tell, Red Dead 2 and Terraria, those are my most played games this year. Unfortunately, they were games I already played in 2022, so they're not going on this list. But yeah, those are iconic for 2024. If I were to play it for the first time this year, but yeah. So next we have Dishonored 1, also a free game I got on Epic Games a really long time ago, and I finally just played it. And one of my friends in my theater class before I graduated in high school, they could not stop talking about Dishonored 2. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's my favorite game ever. It's so beautiful, and yeah, the gameplay is epic. I'm like, oh, I have Dishonored 1 on Epic Games, you think I should play that? They're like, oh, I don't know, I never played Dishonored 1. I'm like, oh, okay. So I finally played it. It's low, pretty good. It's below Dying Light. It's almost mid. Dishonored 1 is such a slog. It has not aged well at all. It was good for the time, but it does not live up. It is not a timeless masterpiece. And that's really about it. The story is so forgettable. So it really should be in the forgettable tier, but it's not. It should be in mid, but it's not. It's almost mid. It got me distracted. I actually got through the whole campaign, which it's a couple story missions too long. It really should have ended the second to last mission, but it didn't. And story mode, the channel that Internet Historian has where he talks about and reviews games with his co-hosts, they did a video right when I was playing Dishonored 2. And I'm like, bruh, that timing. And they basically said the same thing I was saying. Like, oh, it's such a slog. Wow, why do we have to keep talking about this? It was still a pretty funny video, and I think that does a little bit of service to my distaste towards Dishonored 1. So let's go into Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2, iconic. The first iconic game of this tier list. Let that sink in. Dishonored 2 is one of the biggest step-ups as a sequel. Dishonored 2 takes the first game and just like finger blasts it, and then explosion into a new child. It is, when did it come out? It came out in 2017, right? Pretty sure, or was it 2016? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I can see why this is my theater friend's favorite game of all time. Like, at first I thought it was their favorite game just because they haven't really played that many games because they're poor. They can't afford any more games than this. But no, it's actually, art design is beautiful, okay? Every single woman, however, in the game, they're built like one of my friends at college, and it's really uncanny how much they look similar. The body proportions, it's like, it's not even like exaggerated body proportions, they just, every single female in the game just looks like a beta, you know? And all the males, they're like chads. It's really strange, but also kind of funny. The women, they have booty and a little bit of honkers, but it's like, it's not really the kind of booty that most people would find attractive, you know? Like, they need to be doing like squats in that universe because they have no thigh muscles, no booty muscles. They just have like an average size booty. It's kind of distracting because every single woman in the game, they have the same exact body type. And I think that's the biggest downside of the art style, along with like some of the men. Like, the men have the most dimorphism between each of the character designs. That isn't saying much because it is still pretty repetitive with like most of the enemies. They mostly look the same, but there's still some characters like they stand out and they look unique. So yeah, that's my rant about the art style. The story, I'm not too big of a fan of the story. I just really like the gameplay. I think the gameplay is like the biggest selling point. And like all the takedowns you do, the glory kills, whatever the frick, it is one to be remembered. 10 out of 10 story, 10 out of 10 gameplay, 10 out of 10 soundtrack. I'm not saying I think all of those things are a 10 out of 10, but I think a lot of people would say that objectively. That's all I gotta say. So next we have Dishonored Death of the Outsider. Now this, I feel like, is supposed to be DLC to Dishonored 2. They just made it its own game. It's really short. I didn't actually finish it. Another game I didn't finish. It's mid, but I will put it above... Yeah, I'll put it above Wonderlands. Like, it's literally... Like, it's the same UI as Dishonored 2. It's the same gameplay. You just play as this black chick that was in Dishonored 2. And I think it's a sequel to Dishonored 2. Pretty sure. It deserves to be below Dishonored 1. Because Death of the Outsider is not worth buying. Unless if you really, really like Dishonored 2 and you want more content, sure, get it. But in my opinion, it's not worth it. I feel like Dishonored 2 is the real conclusion to the story. Just random missions they just worked on and they made a new game out of it. The story is worse than Dishonored 1. It's just like, who cares? We're already introduced to the world with the previous two games. There's no like shock value to it at all. Next, we have another Call of Duty game. The third Call of Duty of the year. Call of Duty World War II. My brother told me just a few months ago, have you played World War II? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, well, you should. It's not amazing, but I think it's pretty decent. So I'm like, oh, okay. I played it. I didn't play the zombies or the multiplayer because it wasn't working. I tried to find mods to make it work, but I didn't find any on the Steam community. It just wouldn't load. It wouldn't boot up at all. The campaign. We're going to talk about the campaign. This game is low memorable. Okay, people hated this game when it first came out. It took World at War campaign and it just like crumpled it up, unfolded it into a new concept. And it is worse than World at War. I will say that. It's not as good, but it comes close because you play as the Americans and only Americans, but it has the SEO, what was it called? SOE, the British organization formed in 1940 to conduct espionage. It has at least one or two missions of that. It's World at War if World at War had a DLC, like an extended DLC campaign, you know? But like with modern graphics. I'm probably showing some footage on the side here in post-editing. When I first loaded up the first mission on the boat before D-Day, I thought I was watching like a pre-rendered cutscene. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is live. And I could move the camera, the mouse around. I'm like, whoa, what the frick? It looks just like real life. For some reason, COD World War II on the highest graphics looks better than like most of the modern COD campaigns. And this was released in 2017. There's something about modern Call of Duties with like the ray tracing and stuff and like the anti-aliasing. It looks fake. Everything looks like ADHD-ified. COD World War II, they actually made it look realistic and they did a pretty good job. Like the campaign, I beat it in like 2 days. And I loved every second of it. Every single mission, I feel like there's a couple of missions I feel like are just not good. In Black Ops 6, like half of the missions in Black Ops 6 I felt were not good as well. So COD World War II being mostly good, that is amazing. So I feel like COD World War II is a hidden gem in the COD franchise nobody really cares about. Because the campaign itself, I heard the zombies is really good, but unfortunately I wasn't able to play it. The campaign, it's the last World War II game that you need to play before you die, okay? It shows you World at War, what World at War did with its campaign, but just with more realistic graphics. It's not as edgy. It does have a scene where there's American soldiers lined up to go on a train to a concentration camp, and the Nazis are like, "Show me the Jews. Where are the Jews?" There's a little bit of anti-Semitism in it, and World at War did not have that. So, you know, just gonna put that out there. I guess that's all there is to say. If you like Call of Duty and you like World at War, World War II is not gonna be as good as World at War. Seeing like all the modern COD campaigns that we've been getting in the last 10 years now, World War II I feel like is one of the better ones of all of them. That's all I gotta say. Finally, we're almost an hour into this recording. We have Half-Life 2. I ended off 2023 playing Half-Life 1. It was kind of mid, but Half-Life 2, I can see why people like it now. It's not as good as any of these other games in the memorable tier, but it goes below World War II. I can see why people call it a timeless masterpiece. I don't think it's a timeless masterpiece. I think it's very, very dated. But for a game that was released in 2004 up until 2006, with its episode 1 and 2, people in the mid-2000s were kind of spoiled with this one. I haven't played any games from that era. Not even Stalker was this good. Okay, hang on. So why is the first Stalker game above Half-Life 2? I don't know. But Half-Life 2, it's not really my kind of game. I'd say it was a good pastime to end off 2024. And I don't regret playing it at all. I am going to play Portal 2 pretty soon. I might do a video of me doing it. We'll see. So this year of games, let's compare to previous year. Hold on. So here was 2023. We had a lot of pretty good inits. It's probably because of Halo, because it's multiple Halo games. I mean, this year, a lot of mids, barely any mids here. Wait a minute. I already had Wolfenstein in here. What the frick? I didn't even notice that. I literally played Wolfenstein, these two, in 2024. I didn't even play them in 2023. What the frick? Anyway, okay, whatever. Well, I put them in here again anyway. It's basically the same amount of games as last year. You know, even though there were 2 iconic games and then there's 1 iconic game this year. I like this memorable selection on here. We were eating good this year with memorables. Last year we only had 7. This year we have 8. And then pretty good in it only has 6. And then there's a lot of mids. And the amount of mid games that I played, it's frightening. There's not really much to say. 2024 isn't super different from last year. 2025, I'm playing Dark Souls 3 right now. I'm gonna try to finish Skyrim. I don't know if I'm gonna bring it back on the tier list, but whatever. I'm gonna play Elden Ring. Hopefully Killer Bean comes out. There's some other games I've been waiting for. Oh yeah, Doom the Dark Ages, I'm waiting for that. Mafia the Old Country. I didn't get this. There's Stalker 2. Ultra Kill, I might play Ultra Kill. Portal 2, Killer Bean, Judas, Borderlands 4. We don't know when Borderlands 4 is coming out yet. Wait, they have pictures now? Wow, look at that. So here is our official tier list for 2024. I'm going to save and download this. Alright, so the next upload I will have here on the Tiny Teagues channel, I have no idea what exactly it's going to be. It might be a video about 2024 music, but it will be a little bit different, like I said at the beginning of this video, or it will be a Portal 2 video. I have no idea. One or the other, probably the music video, but yeah, I guess that's really all there is to it. I'm going to end this video now, and I will see you guys later. Sub to the main channel, follow the Rumble, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, and join the Discord server. Follow other social media. Bye-bye.